An opportunity for Furkan Korkmaz and the 76ers to seize commanding control of their second-round series tonight. He and Shake Milton have been big off the bench for the 76ers in their 2 wins in this series. Yes, good evening. Hello. Nice head nod from Tyrese Maxey. Matisse Thybulle, a defensive stopper, very busy on his phone. And yes, the birthday boy, B-Ball Paul, making the trek in the State Farm Arena tonight with the 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks play game number 4 of their Eastern Conference Semifinals series. Good evening. Welcome to 7-6 Live Countdown. I'm Brian Seltzer, Lauren Rosen. Great to see you. 76ers, Lauren, with some momentum going into game 4 tonight.
To say the least, Celts, really strong games 2 and 3 for these 76ers. Now, of course, with the opportunity to take a commanding 3-1 lead on the road and head back to Philadelphia to finish things up. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Of course, tonight the Sixers will be without Danny Green, and we will see, of course, Doc Rivers just spoke and is not willing quite yet to give up who will step into the starting lineup in Green's absence. But that, of course, is something to overcome tonight, Celts.
No doubt. That is the big story on 7-6 Live Countdown tonight. Who will fill in for Danny Green, who will be reevaluated for his right calf strain in approximately 2 weeks. That was announced by the 76ers over the weekend. So that's a loss for the Sixers. Tough one there. Danny's been such a great veteran on the squad. We know there's the greenhouse or the green zone, whatever you call the corner, where Danny's been so great and an all-around terrific energy guy. But I think, as we very coincidentally saw in that sequence of 76ers on parading into the arena tonight, there are a handful of candidates who the Sixers have gotten proven productivity from to step in for Danny Green with him not in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, Celts, after practice yesterday, Doc Rivers called that a good unintended consequence of having some starters miss time during the regular season in Ben Simmons and Seth Curry, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. Actually, the 4 of them missed more than Danny Green did, but it meant that guys like Furkan Korkmaz, Matisse Thybulle, even George Hill had 3 starts in his short time with this team. So these guys have experience stepping into the starting lineup, staying comfortable, staying calm and confident, and producing at a high level. So regardless of who Doc does turn to tonight, he has some pretty good options that have experience in that type of situation.
Matisse Thybulle with 2 playoff starts in his career, 1 this year, 1 in the bubble last year. Furkan Korkmaz has never made a postseason start, but played really nice. We'll get to that in a moment. In the Game 3 victory, 127-111 on Friday night. And then there could be someone like a George Hill, perhaps, or maybe it is, as we said, Matisse Thybulle. Maybe it's a Shake Milton. I think that the good news is, Lauren, that for better or worse, Danny Green went out relatively early in the game on Friday, and it gave the Sixers a chance to see different combinations at work, not just in a simulated setting like a practice or a shoot-around, but they were able to try some things out in the game itself, and Furk really played well.
No doubt about it. I know we're going to talk about him a little bit more, but 11 first quarter points from Furk, who actually wasn't the immediate sub for Danny Green. Doc Rivers had Matisse Thybulle come in a couple minutes earlier. He came in around the 8-minute mark. He usually comes in around 6 minutes. So not a huge difference in those first quarter rotations, but when Furkan Korkmaz came in around the time that he has been coming in, he stayed a little longer because of how well he was able to produce, ended up starting that second half and doing a really good job of playing with confidence, Celts.
And despite Lauren having to withstand a key injury, great play in the game from Friday between Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid right there. But the 76ers, yes, they had to withstand the loss of one of their key starters, but still played, I thought, a really masterful game. One example, Joel Embiid, his ability to facilitate effectively throughout the night with a career-high 8 assists in the playoffs. Defense got after it. And the Sixers continue, like on this run out from Matisse Thybulle right there, continue these last 2 games, really the last 2.5 games, to find the right combinations against this Atlanta Hawks team.
Yeah, it seems like after that tough first half of game 1, this team figured a lot of things out on the offensive and defensive ends and never looked back. There's Shake Milton draining 3. He, of course, has had some big moments in this series. It's been great to see different guys rise to the occasion on different nights, and Doc Rivers expects that to continue.
Tobias Harris continuing to have his way throughout the postseason. He's been at 20 points or more in 7 Out of the 76ers' 8 playoff games, the one that he was not, he finished with 19. I think Dwight Howard had a really nice game on Friday as well. 12 points, 6 boards, in just 13 minutes of action. And I think, Lauren, encapsulating one of the things the Sixers brought to the table in game 3, energy and physicality, that was something that was lacking from Atlanta. And that was a game by the Hawks where, trying to look at this objectively, Lauren, I think you're going to need a spirit check from Atlanta. I think the first couple minutes of this game could be really telling about where Atlanta's psyche is in this series and how much belief they either have or don't have left.
Yeah, well, it's a pivotal, just as it is a pivotal game for the Sixers, it's a pivotal game for these Atlanta Hawks. They have the opportunity to tie it up tonight. They've proven that they can beat this team on a good night, as they did in game 1. So this really, not necessarily their last chance, but a huge chance to get back in this series. And they do have weapons, so it'll be interesting to see what adjustments they do make early in this one.
Ben Simmons with one of his 7 assists right there. One of the things I love, Lauren, in the game from Friday was that the 76ers, if you were to anoint a big 3 for this team, it would obviously be Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris. They combined in the game for 20 of the 76ers' 28 assists as the Sixers shared the wealth.
No doubt. Cool to see Tobias Harris expand his game in so many ways. I feel like last pregame show we talked about his defense. This time we can talk a little bit about his sharing. Really cool to see the chemistry that the three of them have developed as well. They're oftentimes finding one another, and that's been really cool to see grow over time. Joel Embiid, just so awesome defensively. I don't know if we talk about that enough either.
No, and interestingly enough, the 76ers may learn in the not too distant future they have any all defensive league candidates that are, well, we know they have candidates, selections. They may find that out later tonight. But yeah, Joel, hey, 27 points, 9 boards, 8 assists, 3 block shots, 12 for 16 from the line. He really had to work, Lauren, in the game on Friday. Clearly, the Hawks paid more attention to him with double team coverage than they had through the first 2 games, and he handled it very well.
He certainly did. And that's something that he has been growing into all season long. Really cool to see. Tobias Harris, I believe, is going to find Joel Embiid. That's exactly what we're talking about. The chemistry between that big 3 has only continued developing all season long. It's been a pleasure to watch.
We do know, as we discussed and Lauren alluded to, that yes, Danny Green is out tonight. 76 will need to replace him in their starting lineup. Who could it be? Let's listen in on a little bit of Doc Rivers pregame tonight from State Farm Arena.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mark Arducci.
Doc, I have to ask the obligatory, are you able to say your starting lineup?
I can say it. I'm just not going to say it out loud or right now. So, yeah. I'll text it to you later.
Your rotation, and maybe you evaluate it on a game-by-game basis?
Yeah, I mean, but each time a guy goes out, obviously, Mark, it shortens what you want to do. It takes away some options, or it may introduce somebody else to the fold. So we'll see. But yeah, it is always game by game. We pretty much know going into the game what we'd like to do, but sometimes the game doesn't go that way, and you have to make adjustments.
John Clark. Hey, Don, a lot of times during these playoffs, everybody talks about your top 2 stars, Joel and Ben. Just how good has Tobias Harris been in these playoffs? Basically, having his best playoffs in his career.
Listen, he's been that way all year. I call him the quiet star. He just does his job. Not very flashy in the way he does it. But then when you look after the game, who helped you and the other teams, or who hurt you, Tobias' name comes up every time. That's just who he is, as a guy, really. He just does his job every night. And he's been absolutely fantastic for us.
Finalists for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion Award, the inaugural award for that, Tobias Harris. I know, Lauren, that quote from Doc Rivers right there is something that stood out to both of us. Great bite from Doc.
Yeah, I loved that one. And it's honestly true. It's something that I noticed when Tobias was with the Clippers, but once again, now in Philadelphia, especially this season, he constantly constantly is having these quiet double doubles, these quiet 20+ point performances. And I loved hearing from Doc's perspective that whether you're with him or against him, you're looking down at the box score after the game and noticing, okay, that guy made a bit of a dent.
76ers at State Farm Arena in Atlanta for game 4 tonight as we take a peek down in the Peachtree State to look in on some pregame warmups. I believe the 76ers trying to figure out who could be in their starting lineup tonight to replace Danny Green, Tyrese Maxey. Maybe so, maybe not. One of the candidates, perhaps. There are options for Doc Rivers and his coaching staff as Tyrese goes through the proverbial steps of his pregame routine.
And Celts, it's been awesome to see guys like Tyrese really embrace the opportunities they've been given. I know we didn't mention him in the open, but if we had said that Tyrese was going to be playing a major role in the playoffs early in his rookie season, I don't know if a lot of people would have been fully on board with that one. I can tell you someone who would have been on board is Tyrese himself.
No doubt about it. He is a believer in himself. 4 points on 2 for 3 shooting, plus 2 assists, no turnovers in game 3 for Tyrese Maxey. In this series, his impact has come in short bursts as opposed to what we saw down the stretch of the Washington series in the first round. Another candidate, of course, for the 76ers in the starting lineup tonight, Furkan Korkmaz, who thrived in the first quarter in the game on Friday. Let us hear from Furkan reacting to his 14-point career playoff high effort in the game 3 win over Atlanta.
Of course, feel good. When you play good, everything looks good. You feel good, you feel confidence. And also most important thing is like we won the game, and then I think I helped the team. So that's why I'm really happy.
How did Furk describe, what was the analogy, Lauren, you were in that Zoom, that Furk used to describe his contributions?
Well, he talked about the game 1 experience for this team. And he said that game 1 is a lot like a fish out of water. You don't know what to expect. And I think, based on a little bit of research, that he is referring to a saying talking about the fact that when someone is put in unfamiliar territory, not unlike a fish out of the water, you don't know exactly what you're going to get. It might take some time to get used to your surroundings. And the Sixers have done a really good job of getting used to their surroundings in this series.
I'm just going to hope that someone out there has read the book Fish Out of Water from the Dr. Seuss series. We talked about this in our pre-show meeting earlier, and it's probably a terrible thing for me to bring up. But here's my analogy. So maybe Furk read it, and the fish Otto in the story, he gets fed, he gets purchased, he gets fed, and he gradually grows and grows and grows until he's this huge, massive fish that can take a swim in a public swimming pool. We need Furk to grow to that level. Now, in the end of the story, Mr. Carp comes along and he shrinks out of the goldfish down to size. We don't want that. We don't want Mr. Carp to come around. We want Furk big. We want him to rise to the occasion. Thank you.
We can tell that someone on this show has twins, young twins, and someone else does not.
That is true. But listen, on a serious note, Furk, obviously nice to see what he did offensively. I mean, a beautiful sidestep 3 to the left right there. But defensively, Furk has evolved and improved.
No doubt about it. And he's talked a lot about Danny Green's impact in terms of his defensive mentality and helping him grow as a defender. He says the same about Matisse Thybulle, has done a great job of explaining his defensive tips and tricks. So really cool to see Furkan in his 4th season in the NBA really grow on the defensive end.
We talked about the 76ers giving up the pill, Furkan knocking down another 3 right there. The man in the middle you see right there, Joel Embiid, talk about guys who were doing great things on all ends of the floor as he and Furkan combined for the steal there. Joe passing the ball in game number 3 last Friday. Excellent, excellent stuff. As Joe finished with 8 assists in the game, that was a playoff career high, working the 2-man game with Furkan right there. And listen, Lauren, we know what Joel can do when he can score the basketball. He can get to the free throw line, but when he's able to make his reads and stir the offensive drink as much as he did all around, very impressive stuff, what we saw from his passing prowess in game 3.
Yeah, Joe the facilitator. I'm all about guys that are already MVP caliber players continuing to add to their games. And I think that Joel really exemplifies that. You mentioned those 8 assists, his playoff career high, but also a team high, tied for a game high with Mr. Trae Young, who you expect to dish out about 8 assists, if not more a night. But for Joel, that's certainly something worth celebrating.
Joe getting his teammates in the act. He discussed following victory number 2 in the series.
Oh yeah, I mean, one team's not gonna guard me that way. They're not gonna leave me alone, and they're gonna come as soon as the ball is in the air towards me. That means one of my teammates is open. I've come a long way, but I feel like this year, the game might just slow down for me. The way I see the floor is completely different than previous years. Some nights it's gonna be good, some nights I'm gonna turn it all over. Just gotta be consistent, and tonight was one of those nights where guys, a lot of credit goes to my teammates. I don't get those assists if they don't make those shots, or if they don't finish those layups. But I just gotta, in those situations I don't get rushed anymore. I just try to make the best play possible, and and even if I gotta get a shot off for myself, there's so many ways I can do it, even while being double teamed, and I feel extremely comfortable shooting over double teams.
Joel Embiid, comfort is the operative word. He has not looked anything but that essentially in the playoffs, playing like the best player on the planet right now. I think you can make the case him, KD, Chris Paul, Lauren, Kawhi, he's right up there in the conversation for the best player in the postseason right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Certainly in the conversation, if not the best. I'm a little biased, but what he's been able to do, potentially not even at full strength, of course, with that knee injury he's been battling, has been nothing short of incredible. It's been awesome to watch him play with such seeming ease, even if he is struggling a little bit underneath the surface.
At home, on the road, Joel getting it done. Let's take another peek into State Farm Arena. Ah, yes. Furkan of the past to perhaps Furkan of the present. We're thinking of him. And there he is. Love that. Great job, Coletti, as Furkan Korkmaz gets ready for tonight's game.
And to hear how well Furkan has adjusted to every situation he's been in. He's seen a lot in his 4 seasons, 4 playoff runs, and this one perhaps the largest role he's played. For those asking in the comments, we do not have any news for you on starters just yet. Danny Green, of course, out tonight. Furkan Korkmaz, potentially an option for that starting lineup, but a lot of good options on this Sixers bench.
Without question, I think that Furkan's poise has grown as well. And I can't believe that he's been here 4 seasons. I feel like an aging content man.
You've been with him from the jump. He was here when I arrived. He is one of my favorites to catch up with. There's no doubt about that. And I got to do that this morning. Hey, Ferk, great to see you. Over the last couple of weeks and months, you've told us a lot about Danny Green's role in how you've been playing, how the team has been playing, and the lessons that he's shared with you guys. So without him tonight, what are you going to be thinking about most when it comes to the lessons that Danny has taught you as you go to play Game 4?
I mean, defensively, we're just going to try to make our game plan harder and harder. That's what Danny was trying to do, He was just trying to do our game plan. And I think it's all our mentality right now, just stay in the game plan because we know it's gonna work, and it worked before. We just need to do our things, and offensively, Danny is a spacing guy. He can shoot, he can knock down those trees, and then he knows how to play with the first unit too. So whoever comes in, whoever plays, we all need to step up, and then we will.
And then you, of course, set your playoff career high in Game 3. How can a performance as dominant as yours was in that Game 3 inform your confidence now for Game 4?
That helps a lot. Going to the Game 4 with that mentality, it's going to be important. It's going to be important because we play on the road. So before we come to Philly again, we want to get this W. It's going to be really important to start the game as a team really well. Then I hope we'll get the W.
Furkan Korkmaz, thanks so much. Furk always with that positive team mindset, really willing to do whatever it takes to help the team win. Earlier in that conversation, he discussed, later rather in that conversation, he discussed the fact that he's willing to be a floor spacer. He's willing to step up on defense. He's willing to be a creator when the team needs it. Basically, do whatever it takes to help his team, and he's been doing that all season. I think Seltz might be muted, but I would imagine that he agrees with me on the topic of Furkan Korkmaz, who is a crowd favorite, a Philadelphia favorite. Seltz, take us back a little bit with this one.
Hard to believe. 4 years ago, yes, at the training complex, there we were getting ready. It was Furk's first day on campus, and he's been a humble guy since the very start. He's just a really genuine, good human being.
I can attest.
And that's what I have on
I agree.
Korkmaz. That's all that I have on Furkan Korkmaz, but someone else has more on Furkan Korkmaz. He is our guy who is the head coach of University of Maryland Eastern Shore, a former assistant for Jay Wright at Villanova, and with the Delaware Bluecoats, Jason Crafton will take us inside tonight's matchup.
This is Jay Crafton, and it's time to go inside the matchup. The big fella, Joel Embiid. We all know what he's fighting through right now, and you gotta love the passion and the ferociousness and the intensity, and let's say tenacity that he's playing with right now. He's attacking the rim and throwing it down with one or two hands, being very aggressive in his offensive plays or his back downs, his face-ups. He's being aggressive from the high post. And you also love how he's putting his body on the line and attacking the offensive glass to get second chance opportunities for his team. Defensively, whether he's in the hedge coverage and up, pushing the basketball out, or he's in his drop coverage and getting hands on basketballs and being active, contesting shots at the rim. You love his activity. You love the way late in the fourth quarter when the Hawks try to make a big play, he's in that drop coverage, jumps up, gets a hands on it, stops that play. He's taking his hits, he gets up, he keeps on ticking. And then on the bench, he's been a great leader, pushing guys in timeout situations when they're coming off the floor and being a vocal presence and leading this team on this big-time championship run. Well done, Joel. Tremendous job. Keep growing as a leader. We love to see it. Let's segue into our guy, Furkan Korkmaz, the sharpshooter from deep, but he's becoming a defensive specialist. Yes, you never thought that would happen, but he's showing an intense willingness and effort to be a big-time defender. And when you see Danny Green go down, you see a guy like Furkan step up and start leveling off drives. His lateral quickness, the strength and conditioning staff has done an elite job with him in opening his hips up and making him more athletic to be able to stop plays on the basketball and being a better on-the-ball defender. You like him off the ball as well, as he's getting hands on balls and getting deflections and helping the Sixers get out in transition. Well done on the defensive end. And then I love how he's letting the offense come to him. He takes the right shots and catch and shoot. And when it's not there, he either moves the ball or he gets to his driving game, gets to floaters and pull-ups. Everything he's doing is in the flow. He's playing great basketball. He's doing it for the team. Tremendous job, Furkan. Keep growing as a player. This is Jay Crafton, and you just went inside the matchup.
Excellent analysis per usual from Jay Crafton. We appreciate it as always. 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks set for game 4 tonight in about 50 minutes time. Lauren, we've not yet addressed the Atlanta Hawks and what they need to do, I suppose. I thought that Trae Young actually had, all things considered, a decent game. Obviously not game 1 level, but better than game 2 on Friday night and game 3. I think now it's about some of the other guys need to help out a little more. They really need to get stops. They need to get their defense figured out. And I think that, my opinion, right now it seems like things are teetering on the cusp where it seems like perhaps the Hawks could be out of answers, but we shall see coming up in about an hour or so. But I think that obviously they are up against it tonight.
That is for sure, Celts. I agree with you. Everybody knew what type of defense the Sixers would be able to bring into this postseason, but they've also been scoring at an alarmingly high rate for opponents. One of the best scoring teams in this postseason thus far. I agree with you. I think the Hawks' biggest adjustment tonight has to come on the defensive end. They've done pretty well offensively, as you mentioned. Trae Young really in games 1 and 3, despite being slowed down a little bit, of course, by some pretty key defenders for the Sixers. I'm with you. Clint Capella's got to step up. Those defenders have got to step up if they want to slow down the scoring threat that the Sixers have grown into in this series.
Time now for tonight's keys to the game. For game 4, as the 76ers look to go up 3-1 and push the Hawks to the brink. They snapped their 13-game home winning streak on Friday. Lauren, what do you got?
Well, Celts, my key tonight is a little bit psychological. Furkan Korkmaz said prior to tonight's game that they know the game plan really well. And if they can follow the game plan, they should be in good shape. Well, if you follow your game plan well, what's next? You're missing Danny Green, who's one of the most vocal leaders on this bench. The team shared that he's back in Philadelphia starting his rehab, and he's someone that helps this team keep their cool. Doc Rivers said yesterday that he has a constant heart rate no matter what's going on out there. So for me, it's all about the rest of the guys channeling Danny's mindset, keeping your cool regardless of what the hostile environment or the Hawks adjustments throw at you. If you keep your cool, stick to your game plan, you should be all set to go up 3-1.
Wise wisdom, keeping her cool helps. Stay locked in. I'm on board.
I'm just trying to channel Danny Green over here.
I like that. I think everyone should get a little Danny Green Zen in your life. I have a keep for my key. Keep shooting your shot. The 76ers in the second round lead the NBA in field goal percentage, over 55%. They're tied for third in three-point shooting, over 42%. They're number 1 in free throws attempted. They need to make more. I will allow that. But the Sixers offensively are getting what they want. Their defense has been improving game by game. So just keep getting your shot. They're putting up points. Love to see that continue against the Hawks in this pivotal game 4.
I'm with it. I like to keep keys. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Keep the keys. Keep them all. Keep everything. But the crazy thing about it, Lauren, is that from the 76ers side, if you put yourself in their shoes right now, as we thank you for acknowledging our keys to the game, you look at it from the 76ers side, they have momentum. They've been very convincing in games 2 and games 3. They go up 3-1 tonight, coming back home for game 5, a possible closeout. That does not seem optimal for the Hawks. But if Atlanta were to tie this up, then we're like, oh, okay, reset, 2-2, brand new series. Atlanta's already shown that it can win at the center by what they did in game 1. It's precarious.
Well, we've seen exactly what can happen in these playoffs on the other side of the Eastern Conference semifinal bracket. That series, of course, now tied at 2 apiece. Would love to see the Sixers have the opportunity to end this one quickly and wait that series out while they get a chance to take some rest and get healthy. But of course, I am with you. Anything can happen in a situation like tonight. There's a huge difference between 2-2 and 3-1, and Sixers are going to be one or the other in a few hours.
We thank Ryan Coletti and Trevor Gaffney on the sticks tonight, per usual. Thank you, Lauren Rosen. A reminder on the 76ers Podcast Network, dropping around lunch, early afternoon, maybe mid-afternoon tomorrow, our latest installment of Fanatic About the Playoffs, our podcast series with 97.5 The Fanatic. And you can always get your Sixers daily news in 5 minutes or less by following The Scoop, so please do that. Just search 76ers Podcast wherever you get your pods. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the ball game.